Hey guys, we are back again with another set of balancing equations, and this one is called Evens and Odds Double It, page 85. Evens and odds double it. So I'm going to show you again my method of doing this, and it may not be exactly what the worksheet actually expected you to do, but this is how I'm going to do it. So if you'll go ahead and get a count on number 1, we will get started. Okay, so let's see if you agree with me. I have 2, 6, and 2. I have 1 carbon, 2 hydrogens, and do be careful on the oxygens because here's again where we have them located in 2 spots. And we've talked about just kind of waiting on those. So when I see this kind of problem, what I'm actually going to wait on is always my oxygen, whatever it is that I have that is by itself. So that's the one I'm going to wait on. So I'm going to go ahead and start with carbon. I have 2 here. So I'm going to go ahead and put 2 here, get that one balanced. Again, that does change my oxygen. So 2 times 2 is 4, plus that one is 5. Let's go ahead and get our hydrogen changed. So I have 6 on this side. That means I need 3 more here. 3 times 2 is 6. Now again, that also changed my oxygen. So I've got 3, and 2 times 2 is 4. So 4 plus 3 is 7. Okay, so now we're to this point. And again, this is how I look at it, and I can show you several different ways. So I need to take 2 times something and get 7. So my way of saying that, and you can write it however, if you want to leave it 7 over 2, that would work. If you want to put it as 3.5, let me slide this down, that would also work. Okay, and so this is to me where I think of doubling it. So I know I can't have a partial here. And we've already talked about, like when we did empirical formulas, if you had a 0.5, you just doubled everything. That's what we're going to do here. So when I have, get this being a 0.5, I'm just going to actually go through and double everything. So this was a 1, okay? So I'm just going to put it there. So now I'm going to go through and I am just going to double all my numbers. So really, this becomes a 2. If I multiply this by 2, I get a 7, okay, because that times 2, those are going to cancel. There's a 7. I multiply this 3 by 2, I get a 6 and a 4. And there's my final answer, 7264. Okay, now the other way you could have done this, of course, was look at this and say, okay, well, I'm going to have to multiply this by 7 and this by 2, but a lot of times that will make these numbers really big. So I go ahead and get this here. It'll be a half. That's okay. And I just say, okay, now I know I just need to double everything because I cannot have a 0.5. Okay. And generally when you're doing these, it'll only be a 0.5 there, like any other decimal. Okay. So let's try another one. So go ahead and write number 2 down. Try it on your own. See what you get. And then we'll come back together. Okay, first off, let's make sure we got our count right. 1, 1, and 2, and then 1, 1, and 3. Okay, so let's go to balancing. Again, I'm going to leave the oxygen alone because it's my final step on there. So, well, in this case, it looks like oxygen is what I need to fix, right? So again, if I do 3 divided by 2, that's 1.5. Everybody okay at that? Which means I'm going to go through and just double everything. So right now, everything is 1. So 2, 3, 2, 2. Wow. Did you guys watch me do that? Okay. So because everything else was balanced, my last thing to balance was this one here. So I said, okay, 3 divided by 2 is 1.5. And now I'd go through and I double everything. I think that's a cool way to do it. Now, let's just back up and let's do this a different way, just to show you. So I'm going to rewrite it and do it again. Okay, so I'm going to go back to before I showed you how to divide, and let's just start over. Let's start fresh because maybe that didn't make any sense to somebody. Okay, so I have 2 and 3. So again, generally that's going to need to be a 6, right? So that would mean that my oxygen needs to be multiplied by a 3 to get that to be a 6. Okay, is everybody okay with that? So this one needs to be multiplied by something. Here's the problem. I have it in 2 spots. So how am I going to get this to be a 6 if it is in 2 spots? Now, if I put a 2 here, let's just see what happens. Now, this is a 1 because, and here's the reason why I put a 2 there. Because this is an odd number. It's a 1. So I know I want it to be an even number of 6. So 2 times 1 plus 2, that at least gets me to an even number. Does that make sense? Now, what that does, though, is it changes my zinc. So if I change my zinc here, now I'm going to have to change my zinc over here. That also changes my sulfur. And then I look back over here and I'm like, well, I need to change sulfur on this side. So I'm going to need a 2 there. Okay, now let's count. I have 2 zincs, 2 sulfurs. Let's count up our oxygen. I have 2 here and 4 there. That gives me 6. And I didn't do the 1.5 thing. Now, you can decide which is easier. Okay, 2 different ways, same problem. Okay, let's try one more. So go ahead and go to number 3. Okay, let's see if you agree with my count. I have 6, 6, and 2. And then on this side, 1, 2, and then 3. Okay, so again, I'm going to go ahead and just begin with my carbons. I'm going to get a 6. Now that changes my oxygens. 6 times 2 is 12, and another one makes 13 on this side. My hydrogens are still messed up. I've got 6 on this side, so I need a 3 here. 3 times 2 is 6. That messed up my oxygens. 12, 13, 14, 15. So again, I'm back to where I was at earlier. These 2 are okay. The only thing messed up are my oxygens. My way of doing it would be to write 15 over 2 here, which is 7.5. You can either do either one. Okay. And then I just go through and I double everything. So 2. When I double, and guys, again, this is 15 times 2. Okay, I'm doubling it. Those are always going to cancel out. That's why I double it. And I get 15. So this becomes 15, 12, 6. Okay, so my answers are 2, 15, 12, and 6. Okay, so that is 3 for you. I think I'm going to stop there on that just so that this doesn't get too long. Again, if you need help on any of those others, I will gladly help you in class on there, but you will be working the 5 at the bottom of the page on page 85.